Okay. Guys' Day and Merry Christmas and a Happy Wednesday to you all. Hope everything got what they needed, really needed, / wanted for Christmas. As you know, today is my special guest interviewee for the month of Christmas. It's none other than Libby. Oh my God, Libby, I forgot to ask you, what is your last name?
Oh, that's okay. Carver.
Carver. Okay. Libby Carver. And
Yay!
who works for LifeSongs, my
Mm-hmm.
favorite station in the world. You guys are my lifeline. You really are my life songs.
Oh, that makes me so happy. That is all God.
Yes.
That is all God.
Yes, because I found you after I had my brain stroke, and ever since I found your station, I've been hooked ever since. It's on. It's my number one dial in my truck. Everywhere I go, I'm listening. Zon sometimes is like, "Can we listen to something else?" I'm like, "No, I need this."
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
If I ever don't have the radio on, I'm like, I feel weird. I need the little atmosphere of hope that it produces.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, and same to you.
You know what I really needed and wanted for Christmas?
What?
A nap. I just want a nap. I want a really good nap.
Well, I get one of those every day. Because I have to because of my brain stroke. I need it to refresh me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to function.
Yes. I think we could all use
no, but everybody needs rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let me say our opening prayer before I get into our interview. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this podcast interview. Please help us engage in meaningful discussion, allowing it to fall on fertile ground. Give us the right words to say to capture people's attention. And I pray that they share this interview with whoever they believe could also benefit from something they learned or heard today, aka were edutained by, to be educated and entertained. These are our prayers through Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
So, Libby, how are you really doing today?
You know what? I really am good. I think I get really hyped up by all the festive feelings of Christmas, but then I also get really exhausted by just the sheer amount of things, festive things. But there's so many things. So it's been a season of really trying to keep my perspective on Jesus and embrace the merry, but let go of expectations so I can just find joy and remind myself of who it's all about, because there's peace in that.
Yeah, because Jesus is the reason for the season.
Exactly.
And people put way too much emphasis on gifts. Yeah, he got gifts, but that was his birth day.
I know, and I'm all about all the traditions. However you want to celebrate this season with your family and your friends and whatever it is that conjures up the sentimental, nostalgia and all the things. But there's too much. We put too much pressure on it. We put too much pressure on having to get a gift for every single person that we've ever met in our lives.
And going into debt. It's like, oh my God. Because I hear Christmas, everybody, well, pretty much, it's a lot of people overspend. And you should never overspend on anything. And put yourself out. If you know you don't have the money for something, and then make homemade gifts. Bake something if you know how to bake. Give food, put together a gift basket or something. You can go to the dollar store and pick up a lot of stuff that people like. And who don't shop at Dollar Tree?
Right? We all do.
So I'm sure if you went and picked up some stuff and even put Dollar Tree baskets together for Christmas, that somebody would appreciate that, because that's money they don't have to spend. They were gifted the items.
Exactly.
So,
and I think there's something sweet about, if I see something, no matter what time of year it is, I see something and I think, oh, that reminds me of Renicia.
Mm-hmm.
If I got it then for you and gave it to you, it would be so much more thoughtful Like if
Yes.
someone did that for me, I would appreciate that so much more in that moment than the
Yes.
pressure of, because I have to get everyone something.
Exactly.
Here's a thing that I know you don't even really need or want.
That you need to check off your list.
Right. Like it's not about the actual giving of the gifts.
Yeah.
It's about the pressure we put on having to check all the boxes.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely all about the pressure. And like I say, they have people who go into debt over Christmas. And that's not, God don't want us to go into debt over his birthday. That's completely going against. He got all those gifts because it was his birthday. You bought one gift for his birthday. Okay. Our family and friends, they don't deserve a tree full of gifts because of his birthday. Who gets gifts on somebody else's birthday?
That's a good perspective.
I mean, because it's like, I know people who even, their kids will get a birthday, but you're expected to buy a gift, not just for that kid whose birthday, but for any other kids they have.
Yeah.
And I don't like going to them kind of parties because it's like, why am I being forced to buy you a gift because you're attending your sister's birthday party? Just like I am.
Mm-hmm. I came here for the cake, that's all. I just came for the cake.
The cake and the entertainment. Yeah. Okay. You care to explain how we know each other?
Well, we know each other because we're part of the same family, the LifeSongs family, obviously.
Yeah. And I think I started volunteering there because I had my brain stroke in 2010. But I remember as soon as I got out the hospital, which was it was a year after, so 2012, December. No, February of 2012, because I was transferred to Truro in January of 2012, where I started my rehab because the doctor who did my surgery previously worked. See, everything is always connected. We don't always see all the dotted lines, but he had worked at Truro before and knew they had a good rehab program. So he referred me to be transferred from EJ, East Jefferson, over to New Orleans, Truro Infirmary Hospital because of their program.
Wow.
Because EJ had a program too, but he said it was mostly for older stroke patients. I also learned in my interview with him that there's two different types of strokes. And the type of stroke that I had was a wet stroke. Dry strokes are what older people have, where they have paralysis on one side, they lose certain abilities. But I had a wet stroke, so they knew it was related to something. It was an underlying cause, usually a brain bleed.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
There's so much going on in that. And but God put the right person in your
my path.
In your
path,
exactly.
Because I even asked him, I was like, well, how did you get the call to do me? And then he said, well, the doctor on call called him to, take my case. So, and he just so happened to be working that night, working that shift. Well, it was early in the morning. So working that shift. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
God is in the details, huh?
All the time. Yep. And I was just up there with you guys on a week ago to do the last mail outs for the Christmas season.
Look, if you received a Christmas ornament from LifeSongs in the mail, chances are Renesia hand put that label and that envelope together for you.
But I worked as a team. It wasn't just me. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Thank you. Exactly.
So no, I wasn't there. Though I wasn't the only one up there helping. We had a crew of people. Actually, I designed a volunteer T-shirt for the crew, those of us who volunteer to take care of everything that needs to be handled behind the scenes after Share-a-thon is over. So any mail outs that need to be done, I get a call, as well as the other people who were there with me.
Thank you so much
for
being willing to come and help. It is such a help to us. It really is, because we're a pretty small team. So we're very grateful.
Yeah. And I look forward to it because, like I told you one other time that I was up there helping you guys, that I've started going back to my exercise class because in my interview, when I interviewed Miss Arethia, who is 86 years old, she says she doesn't let anything, very little, come between her and her exercise classes.
I want to be like her when I grow up.
You and me too. So yesterday I missed because I told them, okay, I'm volunteering at LifeSongs today, and since y'all always do y'all mail outs on Thursdays, I missed my Thursday class. But otherwise, and I text some of them to let them know that I wouldn't be there because I was volunteering for my previous appointment with LifeSongs, and everybody understood. But I told them I'll be back on Tuesday. Yeah.
Well, good. That's good.
So, okay, and who were you raised by?
I was raised by both my parents. They had some mutual friends, but they technically met each other on the Algiers ferry. And wow. I know, huh? We got a long history of Algiers in our family.
Yeah, exactly. I got to hear this story.
Well, my dad is an identical twin.
Wow.
And his brother married someone who had gone to high school at Berman when it was a high school with my mom. Okay. And so that's how they kind of got together and met. And it happened on the Algiers ferry, but so yeah, they met, they got married on St. Charles in, I think, 1969.
Wow.
And they are still married, and they raised.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I am a middle child in all the most stereotypical ways. I'm a middle kid.
Marsha. Were you a whiner?
Yes, I am such a Jan. No.
She's thinking, I'm like, get over it. You know, Marsha is the oldest.
It's true. It's totally true. We're the ones who kind of like handle the stuff in the unseen ways, and I had two brothers. Mm-hmm. Yep. I had two brothers. My older brother, he actually passed away in 2020. He was in a car accident and passed away. But he was 8 years older than me. And then when I was about 5 or 6, my younger brother came along. I had been praying for a little sister. And so I just knew this was God answering my prayer. And sure enough, the It's a Boy sign came out, and I was like, what?
Yeah, God, you messed up.
God, that's not what we talked about.
That's not what I asked you. I asked for a sister.
Exactly.
But that reminds me of me, because I always wanted, it's just me and my little brother, and I always wanted a sister because I was like, my brother, we just didn't really connect. I mean, it's like, and I always felt like I wanted somebody that I could relate to better. I couldn't relate to him. So it was like, I always asked my mama for a sister, and she finally got pregnant, but unfortunately that baby went back to be with God. She didn't make it. She lost it, but it was a boy. So all things happen for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And you know what? I look, like you said before, when you can look back and see God at work, I had a cousin. My dad was an identical twin. So my uncle's kids, those cousins, felt almost more like siblings, and they lived across the street growing up in Algiers. And so my female cousin really was a lot more like a sister for me. And I've had a couple of really close friendships in my life that I'm still friends with, and that's much more like a sister kind of relationship. And I feel like if I had a sister, those bonds wouldn't be the same as they are. So I feel like God did answer that prayer. It was just in a slightly different way.
Exactly. You're not sisters. You're sisters by another mister.
Exactly.
Because everybody I know who has sisters, they fight and fuss, and it's like they don't have a bond. That's the bond that I was seeking. It's like, you know what? God, you knew best, because now as an adult, the sisters, the friends that I have are like sisters to me. And
exactly.
But they get along the same way. They have horrible relationships with their sisters.
Mm.
So it's
See,
like,
God
thank
knows.
you.
God knows.
Yes, you knew. So thank you for not giving me a sister. Yeah.
Exactly.
That makes it all better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really does.
And you say both of your parents are still living?
They are. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure
They still live in Algiers?
They do. They live right next door to me.
Wow. And I thought I was the only one that lived literally next door to my parents, because at one point my husband, we tore down a piece in the fence. That way the kids could just walk from one house to the other without having to walk on into the front.
It's the best, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's just such a sweet thing.
Yes.
Like I said, I grew up across the street from like family in multiple houses. I had multiple sets of cousins on the same block, and there's just something so sweet about that. So to me, to have family really close by, that close, it's such a help as a mom, but it's also an opportunity, I think, as my parents get older, for me to be able to step up and support what they need. And I'm just really grateful for the convenience of that, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, and who was the disciplinarian in your childhood home? Your mom, dad, both, or neither?
It was my mom. It was my mom. When we would go to Schwegman, she'd carry around a wooden spoon in her purse.
Not the wooden spoon.
She didn't have to use it very often, but I knew it was there.
Wow.
No, they were both very involved. They supported each other in how they handled us, I think, and they always really tried their best to honor God and how they raised us. But I think my mom was, when I was really little, she was just home more with us as kids. And I mean, she did work outside the home too, but not as much when I was really young. Yeah. And I mean, my dad is a little bit more of a softie than my mom, but I think the combination
is it everybody's? My dad is a marshmallow. Yeah.
Yep, it's up to the moms.
Yeah. So, I was shocked when I interviewed my cousin Ty, because when I asked her this question, mom, dad, or both, I had to add neither, because she said neither her mom nor her dad.
Well, what kind of angel child was she that she didn't need any discipline?
No, and she had sisters and brothers, and believe me, that little brother needed a disciplinarian in the house. Maybe that's why he was so bad when he was a kid. He's come a long way, though. He's come a long way. Yeah. But,
that's good. That's hard. It is. Now that I am a parent, I really see, like, all the things that I didn't quite understand as a kid. Like, well, that doesn't seem like a big deal. Why would I be punished for this? Or why is there a consequence for this action when it doesn't seem... But now I see, like, all the implications you're thinking about as a parent trying to do it right. And I know I'm making a million mistakes, but I have a lot more sympathy for what my parents went through.
Yeah. Wow. So would you say your family was religious growing up?
Yeah, definitely. We went to church really regularly as a family. We were pretty involved. My parents, it was actually my older brother when he was maybe 4 or 5. He went to a vacation Bible school with some friends or some relatives. I don't know, but he went to a vacation Bible school and he brought his faith back home with him. And that is how my parents came to know the Lord. Really? And it was kind of in that Jesus revolution, Jesus people kind of era, which that movie is just their story pretty much. But
wow. I haven't seen that movie. But I'm going to have to see it now that you said it.
Yeah, it's basically, hippies for Jesus. Okay. But by the time I came around, church was definitely like a regular part of our family rhythm. And
okay. But you say you and your older brother are how many? He's 8 years older than you?
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was early 70s when he came to know Jesus, and then my parents after that.
Wow. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because my faith was built because my mom, she literally was carrying me. I was inside her belly in church, but because she got pregnant as a teenager. So she was going to church every Sunday because her grandfather was a deacon at the church, and she'd go with her mom. And so like I say, I literally was brought up it came up in the church, because even after she had me, I still, whether she came, because after she had me, at one point she had stopped coming to church. She'd stay home and hang out with my dad, but I asked to go stay with Big Mama. Actually I call her Mama. I say Big Mama because that's what my kids now call her, because I didn't want another generation to be calling her Mama. But I grew up calling her Mama because, like I say, my mama was a teenager when she had me. So guess where I came home to? Her house with her mom and dad. So it makes sense that I call her Mama. Right?
Right.
No. She'd have an attitude with me. She's like, I'm your mama. And I'm like, but I'm a baby. I'm like, yeah, I hear you calling your mama Mama, and I hear your brothers calling her Mama. She's Mama.
Yep.
And I did the same thing. Well, no, I don't know what I called him as a baby, but I remember calling my grandfather Granddaddy. And I don't remember what I did. I don't know whether I was calling him Daddy when I was a baby, but she really had an issue with me calling her Mama. Because she was like, I'm your mama. I'm like, okay. But you're calling her Mama. So... What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Exactly. And is this your grandmother who's still alive?
Yes, ma'am. She's the 98-year-old that I went to see for at the beginning of November. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What I imagine the story she's got to tell.
Oh, and I hate that I didn't get to interview her, but I just posted a poem that I had written for her at her 80th birthday party. And I recorded a video. I think that was my video that I recorded at the beginning of December.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, at the beginning of November, because it was my intention when I went up there to interview her when I went up there the first of the weekend in November. And but since I didn't get an interview because she was just not really up to it, she's getting back into that baby phase where she just eats, and she's really attentive when she's eating and talking, but she sleeps a lot. So, and I just felt like it'd be too much pressure on her for her to try to stay up while I ask all these questions. And believe me, if she was in her right mind and was the mama that I remembered, but a lot has changed since I went up there to see her. So I didn't push it. So that's why when I came back home, instead of being disappointed and wallowing in my disappointment, God brought to memory the poem that I had wrote to her and read to all the people, to her and all her party guests at her 80th birthday party. Yeah.
Oh, so that's really sweet. Yeah. That's really sweet.
Because I love writing poetry.
Oh, that's it's so expressive. It's so beautiful.
It is. You're going to have to check that episode out. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely will. I love that. I for sure will.
Yeah. Okay. And as a child, what was your favorite part of church?
I really loved the music. Surprise, the music.
Yeah, exactly. Working at a radio station,
right.
A Christian radio station.
But I did. There's just something. I mean, I loved the people. It was a quirky group of just all kind of very New Orleans characters who loved Jesus, and I grew up in that environment, and I'm so thankful for that because I really love that. But I really loved the music. I wanted to be in the kids' choir and on the play performances and all the stuff that went along with that. I loved it.
That's my next question. Were you in any activities at your church?
I mean, I went to like children's church and Sunday school and stuff, but yes, we did have a little, anytime there was a production, like a Christmas play or something like that, all the kids would be very involved in that. And then we had a little choir where the kids would sing, Sandy Patty songs and stuff.
Okay. So you were in a choir?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I genuinely think any child who attended could be in this choir. I don't know if they all were, but it felt like we all were.
It wasn't about gifts and talents back then.
It was certainly not.
It's like, just make a joyful noise, and Lord knows some of those kids that's definitely what they making.
It was exactly that.
Exactly. How old were you when you got baptized?
I was trying to remember the exact age. I know it was between 9 and 11. It was somewhere in that range, which is so sad. I can't remember the exact age, but
that's fine.
It was it was kind of that time frame.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what would you say was the most important lesson you've learned throughout your life as a Christian?
Oh man, I hesitate to say because I feel like I'm never not learning a lesson.
Well, I mean, it's an ongoing process.
Always.
Always.
Well, I will say that I struggle, and this struggle has kind of increased, or maybe it's been applied differently as I age, but just anxiety and worry, you know, and sometimes those thoughts get really loud and they swirl around, and I'm trying really hard to constantly learn to fill my mind with truth and things that are right and that are true and pure and lovely and all the things the Bible says to focus on. And there's one scripture in Philippians 4 that I just love, where it talks about the peace of God guarding your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. And I love the idea of just picturing that, like this little force field of God's peace around me. So there's no room for the fear to come in.
Can you get more cartoonish?
I know, right? Look, I have an 8-year-old son who's obsessed with Star Wars, so the force field comes
exactly. That's right on point. I was going to say, not the force field. Not pulling from your own personal experiences.
Exactly.
Okay, and so as a child, were you talkative or quiet, a liar or honest, selfish or kind-hearted, stubborn or easygoing, a bully or nice kid, a lover or hater, bossy or passive, curious or unconcerned? And you can have different answers.
Gosh, okay. I was definitely quiet and shy unless I was at home. Then I was probably like a total maniac, because in my comfort zone I could be silly and I could be goofy and you know, just kind of let loose. But I was much more shy and like proper in public. Okay. You know, probably that wooden spoon.
Where it really exactly that had something to do with it. You were thinking about what was in that purse that nobody else could see. That kept you in line.
Yep. Still to this day, you know, every once in a while I'll think about that.
Yep. Be like, hold it together. No, never mind.
Right. I think I had a stubborn streak for sure when it came to certain things, but overall, I feel like I was kind of more go with the flow and very aware, even at a young age, of others around me, which probably plays into the anxiety that I have to deal with. But I think I could be stubborn. Again, it was more so with like my siblings or in my home when I would get kind of those.
I could definitely see that. Yeah. And as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I don't know. I was thinking about this, and there have been little blips of things, but I think when I was a kid, I just wanted to be. I didn't really think so much about options. I just thought about what I saw, like a mom, because I was around my mom.
Yeah, I am so glad to hear that, because I thought I was the only person that thought about having kids. I wanted to be a mother, and I wanted 2 boys and 2 girls. I was specific.
You had it all planned out, right?
Yes. And when people would ask me, what do I want to be when I grow up? I'll be like, a mom. You know, because that's what I grew up. When I grew up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. That was my normal. I couldn't relate to a mom getting up every day and going to work. That was the luxury that she was afforded because my dad had a good job.
Isn't that so great? I really love that. And then the times that I did think about like a career, it was just where I was going with my mom. Like, I guess I'll work at Schwegman's, or I guess I'll work at Cafe Du Monde, because like that's where we went, you know.
So you become an employee at wherever you shop or ate.
Yes.
Wow, you are the first guest that have said a mom.
Oh, really?
Yes. Nobody else. That has never been anybody else's guess. And I was thinking, I'm like, what's wrong with me to where all I wanted to be was a mom?
No, all nothing. That is the hardest job on the planet, I tell you.
Exactly. The hardest unpaid job.
Exactly.
Woo! Because dealing with kids, oh my God.
Yes.
It's not easy at all. It's the most ungrateful job there is. Because kids come here crying and whining and wanting their way. They don't care if you've had a bad day or you lacking sleep. All they want is what they want then. They don't want to wait. God created, babies are the cruelest. Babies are his cruelest creations. Because they may be lovable and cute and adorable, but they
put you to work. They put you to work.
Yes.
They test the limits.
From day one, they come out hungry. So you got to work. After you just work to get them here, you got to feed them.
Yep. You have to teach them how to do everything. Even sleep. You're just like, wait.
Yes.
What?
Lord have mercy. Okay. Thank you you made me feel like I'm normal, because like I said, that's out of all the people I've interviewed, no one has ever said a mom.
Wow, I'm really surprised by that, but it's a very noble calling, and you are doing it well.
It is. Well, thank you, and I owe a lot of that to my grandmother, because, like I say, my mom, me and her didn't necessarily have the relationship that most mothers and daughters should have. And my grandmother was a big influence in my life. So when I say mama, she was my mama. Literally. She's just not in name. I don't just call her that because it's cute. No, I call her that because she is my mama. She did more for me than my mom did.
I'm so glad you have her in your life. I know you still have her in your life. That is really a gift.
Yep. And I realized that, and I'm so grateful. And I'm like I said, I wanted to honor her for Thanksgiving. I wanted to honor the 3 oldest women who are in my life, and she was gonna be one. And then the other 2 ladies that I interviewed, my Ladies of Longevity, is that series that I did for Thanksgiving.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because it's like we have to be thankful in everything, but I feel like this generation needs to know what somebody else who came from way back went through, so we can look at ourselves and see they didn't have all the modern technology and stuff that we have these days. The 96-year-old that I interviewed from my church, she remember playing jacks she didn't have the store-bought jacks. They used peach pits.
Oh my goodness.
Because they had an orchard of peach trees. So they dry the pits out, and that's what they use with jacks. They have the ball, and they picked a peach pit for jacks. I
love it.
Talk about ingenuity.
Seriously, work with what you got.
Work with what you got. And they definitely did. They made it work. I was like, Lord have mercy. Y'all played peach pit jacks. She was like, yeah, that's what we had. We had a lot of them. So, yeah, that was the first recycling. They recycle peach pits.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, okay. And what was your favorite memory from childhood and why?
Oh, gosh, a favorite memory. I genuinely don't know. I don't know if I could pick a favorite. I have a really hard time with absolutes. So
okay, just pick a memory.
One particular favorite is hard, but I remember, I think my favorite memories as a kid really were just playing, like getting creative and having the space to either climb up to the top of that Mayor McCheese at the McDonald's playground and just, run around, or we would put on like little plays with us cousins. We would kind of make up dances and I feel like there was a lot, and we watched plenty of TV and, whatever, but we played Atari and whatever video games existed at that time. But my favorite memories are when we were just kids being kids. Yeah. And, we had a man. That. Yes, we had a man down the street, Mr. Bruno, who would make those huckabucks, those little frozen
the freezer cups.
Ices. Yeah. Yes, And every Saturday morning we'd walk down and we'd be like, is it going to be red or is it going to be orange today? And
Oh, it wouldn't be different flavors? He just made one flavor?
He would make orange or red, but you never knew which one it was going to be.
Okay. Yeah. And what was his name?
Mr. Bruno.
Bruno. Okay.
Yeah, but I think about that, and I think about, what life is like now, and there are a lot of great things about life now that didn't exist then, but there's something so pure and simple about the way, and probably everybody thinks this when they reflect back on their childhood, but there really is something sweet and wonderful about being able to just be kids.
Yeah. I miss those days because now Jean-Michel has never played outside in our front yard for a reason. Not only because she's the only child and doesn't really have any friends in the neighborhood, but because it's so bad. It's so dangerous. Even
That's
skating,
so sad to
she
me.
has to skate. We'll pull one of our vehicles back from the house because we have a carport that runs along the house, along the side of the house. We'll pull one of our vehicles out and she'll be able to skate the length of the carport and then in the backyard because we have a detached garage. So she'll be able to skate from under the carport area to the driveway to the garage, back and forth.
You know what? I used to do that exact same thing in our carport growing up. I would roller skate around and around the carport because it was the smoothest of the concrete.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's, like it's different. It's
different. You chose to do that, but she doesn't really have a choice. And since if I can't sit outside and watch her while she skates around, it's like, and that's after a while, it's like, okay, I'll do it for a while, but it's like, no, I'm not going to stay out here the entire time she wants to skate. So, and she loves skating. So I was like, okay, so I just pulled the truck out to the end of the carport and she'll drive, she could skate from the truck to the garage. And back and forth.
Yeah. That one little space.
She has to. Because it's so dangerous now. People grabbing and kidnapping kids. And no, not having it. Not on my watch. Not my baby. I've sacrificed too much. And I'd be really pissed if somebody stole her.
No.
If somebody
was like over her and you. And
look, like she used to say, if somebody thieved me. I forget how old she was when she would say that. I was like, no, baby, you ain't got to worry about nobody thieving you. Yeah. Wow.
The fact that there's even that awareness
exactly.
as a kid, it's so sad.
It's different now.
Sad. It is. It really is.
That goes back to why I interviewed those ladies to show the differences in the times then versus now. And they feel like back then they were freer. They didn't have to worry. They didn't have all the worries that we have to worry about. Yes, we may be more advanced and have more technology and everything, but even still, that's not benefiting them because even though they have cell phones, they need help to. Even one lady, she hadn't seen the video. She had listened to the video that I did on YouTube because nobody had came over to show her how to use her phone and get YouTube on her phone. So I had volunteered, but eventually she ended up getting somebody else. But it's like, really? And she's back then. They say the older generation used to take time with the kids and tell them about stuff. Well, this here is gonna happen. This, explain. And I did that with my kids. Let them know, okay, look, before you go to school, you gonna deal with this. You gonna do it because I was bullied in school, and I never wanted any of my kids to be bullied. And so far, none of my girls were bullied, but my son was, and he didn't. His bullying stopped the day that he stood up for himself and fought his bully back.
Wow,
that got him suspended, but he had been being bullied by that boy for a long time. So it was a long time coming. But after he stood up for himself and fought him, he wasn't bullied no more in school. So, yeah.
They have to deal with so much.
Exactly. Who was your best friend in elementary school? And are you still in contact?
Oh, gosh. Well, growing up, like I said, my cousins were really my best friends because we played together all the time. I was pretty close with some of the families at our church growing up as well, and I definitely still speak to one of them that we were really close. His name is Joey, and we our families would take little weekend vacations together and stuff, and go camping
sweet.
And yeah,
That's
we
sweet.
Definitely stay in touch. Yeah,
That's good. And you still in church today?
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Now that's a lifelong friend.
I know. Yeah. He's the best. He really is the best.
What was your favorite junk food in middle school?
Oh man, I ate nothing but junk food in middle school.
You and me both.
When I was little, my parents were really strict with our food, like carob instead of chocolate level strict. But I know, right? But then by the time my younger brother came along, we just had Lucky Charms and Cherry Coke at the ready. So I ate a lot of junk food.
Not at home.
I made up for lost time when I got to middle school.
You was like, I'm away from home. Let me get in with all I can get in. So what was your favorite junk food?
I think probably Lucky Charms and Cherry Coke.
Oh my God. And I never liked Lucky Charms because I'm not a mushroom. Really? I'm not a marshmallow lover.
Oh,
and Cherry
not even
Coke.
Cereal marshmallows, which are like special. No.
It didn't make a difference. They don't do right in my mouth.
That's okay. I can respect that. Although I will say, try growing up with only buckwheat oatmeal brand cereal, and you will love Lucky Charms.
Well, I grew up. We used to eat cream of wheat. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
I used to love cream of wheat because me and my uncle would eat that together at my grandmother's house. His mom, my grandmother. But that was often a breakfast food in our house, and oatmeal. I loved oatmeal.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I grew up drinking coffee sometimes with my grandparents.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Did you put, because my parents tried to do that too. They would give us, they called it coffee milk because it was mostly milk, but a little bit of coffee. And I don't know. My brothers loved it. I never took to it until I was an adult, but
no. But that's another memory that I cherish with my grandparents because I could never have coffee with my parents. And they drunk black coffee anyway with no sugar. So I was like, ew.
Right.
If I want to drink,
I
can't even think of bitter water.
Brown.
Brown bitter water. No, thank you. No.
Just take me to Mississippi. I'm good.
Not appetizing at all.
No.
Yeah. Okay. And what group were you a part of in high school? The populars, the cheerleaders, the athletes, the nerds, the creatives, the choir, the drama club, a loner, or a pothead? And once again, Tina Myers, the president of the Southern Christian Writers Group that I'm now a member of, said the potheads while she was in school. Of course, she's changed her life. She's now a Christian, born again Christian, but she was my only guest that admitted to being a pothead.
Well, I certainly had some friends who were in high school. But,
we all did. But I didn't partake.
No, me either. Me either. Again, anxiety. I was just way too. Nope.
Well, it might have soothed your anxiety.
I know, right? I think in high school I was probably a misfit. I had a few close friends. I was friendly with everybody, but I was like, in the Latin club in high school. So I don't know. They did those senior superlatives, and they voted me most unique in high school. Okay. So I guess I was a weirdo, but I'm okay with that.
That's a nice word for weirdo. Okay, so I'm going to have to add that to, well, maybe I should just put, because I put drama club, maybe I should just put clubs.
Oh, yeah. I was not, it's funny. I was really still shy but creative, but shy. And I had a guidance counselor in high school who I loved. He looked kind of like Little Richard, and he always had these sugar-free candies on his desk, and I just would love to go spend time with him. And he encouraged me, and by encouraged, I mean he kind of forced me to try to get out of my shy zone.
Yes.
And he told me I had to take drama or speech, so I chose drama because it sounded less scary. It was just as scary. And then he signed me up to audition for the Ringling Brothers Clown College.
Oh, wow.
When the circus was in town. Yeah.
That sounds like fun. Did you actually do it?
Oh, I did. I auditioned. I did not make it.
Oh, wow. But you auditioned. That's a lot.
I did it. I was very shy. I was nervous to do it, but yeah, so I don't know. I was a misfit. I was a clown. I was shy.
Okay. So, but you never did anything creative. Like you never drew or painted or anything?
I did. I love to draw. I did. I love to draw.
So you were creative.
Okay, then yes. That's so much better than weirdo. Yes, creative. What a nice term.
Because we're not everybody's cup of tea. Because me and Alex met in art school at the Art Institute of Houston.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's a story behind that, because when he graduated from high school here, he said he wanted to be an architect. So he went to PV, Prairie View University. And he wanted to be an architect, mind you, but had never created a dwelling. Never. Instead, he had a portfolio full of CD covers and all kind of flat stuff. It's like of graphic design stuff. But he going to architecture school. So after he took his portfolio to school, his teacher told him, you know what? You might do better at the Art Institute of Houston. So that's how he ended up at the Art Institute of Houston, instead of wanting to be an architect and didn't have a portfolio, because they're supposed to have a portfolio put together when they go to art school. And that's like my son. He had said he wanted to be an architect, and he was just doing it for the money. But I'm like, okay, Trey, I never see you draw or create anything. So where is your portfolio? And I was so embarrassed because we went to U of H for their open house for architect students. And we went, and he didn't have a portfolio to show. So I'm like, how do you want to be an architect? Where's your portfolio? I never see you work on anything creative. You never draw. You never make anything. And you have to have a portfolio in order to get into that school. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because they actually have an architecture college, and they because I had to have a portfolio for the Art Institute, and I didn't have one. Well, I just grabbed everything because I've been drawing for. As a matter of fact, I got in trouble because I drew on one of my dad's paychecks. So that was one of my first drawings. I didn't get to keep it because my mama got on me, because of course she had to take it to the bank and cash it. But that was my first piece of one of my first pieces of artwork. But
I love that, because you just have to create. Yes, there's an available surface. There it is.
Yes. You have to use what you have.
Exactly.
And I had a pen. I don't know if it was a pen or a pencil. I had a pen or I had something to write with. And I had a piece of paper, regardless of whether it had writing on it or not. I didn't know it was a check. I was 3 years old.
You don't have to be concerned with all that. You're not writing on the table.
Yeah, so. Exactly. I would have gotten it. She would have had a fit. I would have got a real beat down if I would have drew on the table. So
the wooden spoon coming out.
Exactly. No, the belt. I got the belt.
I don't know what's worse.
The belt, believe me. I know from experience. So, how old were you when you got interested in the opposite sex?
Gosh, I don't know. I didn't really date very much at all. I don't know if I had any like specific conversations about that with my parents about dating or that there were rules per se, but it wasn't so much like an active interest of mine. I mean, I had normal crushes on boys randomly.
Yeah.
Like my first crush was the professor on Gilligan's Island. When I was a kid watching that, I was like,
he was a looker.
There it is. He's handsome. He's smart. Can't seem to get him off that island, but I would trust him out of anybody.
Exactly. I'm surprised he didn't hook up with Ginger and really hook up with Ginger and Marianne.
Right? I know.
I love that. That was one of my favorite childhood shows. I couldn't wait to get home and watch Gilligan's Island.
Me too.
Knowing that they wasn't going to ever, if somebody would have told me they wasn't going to ever get off of that island, I would have been like, really? I watched it I'd like to think it came on every day.
Yeah.
Every day after school, I couldn't wait to watch. That was one of my favorite shows, Gilligan's Island.
Me too. Yep. Me too. The professor had a lot to do with it.
Exactly. Okay. And when were you allowed to start dating?
Again, I don't know if we ever had like a specific.
No.
I think we would. I think my parents would have had it been more active of an interest of mine, but
okay. You just weren't you weren't interested at all.
I mean, normal. I think I would have crushes on people and stuff, but nobody ever asked me out, and nobody that I would want to go out with anyway.
That's
so
sad.
I didn't really date very much.
Wow.
So,
my mom had told me it was 16.
Really?
Of course, I started dating much younger than that, like 3 years younger than that.
Oh.
Yeah. I got some stories behind that too, but nevertheless, I got a advanced lesson early. Yep. So 16 didn't happen. Yep. Did you work as a teenager going to school?
No, I didn't. I mean, I did like babysitting and stuff in the neighborhood, but I didn't have any part-time jobs or anything beyond that until I graduated high school.
That is a job. You were paid, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a job.
That's a job.
Took up most of my weekends, which is probably why I never went out on dates. But
Well, somebody had to babysit those kids, and I'm sure you were a great babysitter. You were responsible because you weren't into boys.
It's true. Well,
so they didn't have to worry about you being on the phone or your boyfriend sneaking over. None of that.
No. And one time I got to talking. Well, 2 times. One time I simply forgot. It was like a Sunday morning thing, and I was at church, and I just completely forgot that I was supposed to babysit, and that was a shame because I totally let them down, and they didn't call me. That family did not call me again. And then another time, I was babysitting 2 families' kids. They were next door neighbors, and they were all together. And I don't remember why I did this or what we were doing, but they had a puppet, like a Kermit the Frog puppet or something, and I pulled the puppet's body onto the blade of their ceiling fan and then turned it on to see where the puppet would fly off. It was just one of those, like, let's do a fun game. And the kids loved it. It was very fun.
I can imagine.
But the next time I babysat, they were like, no more puppets on the fan.
That's too much fun.
That was a little, yeah. I'm sure the kids showed them and it knocked over something important or something.
Exactly. Wow. Okay, it's 11:26. Do you really need to go, or can we finish?
Yeah, I think we can finish.
Okay.
I got maybe 10, 15 more minutes.
Okay.
I think we can do it.
Okay. What did you do after you first graduated from high school? Go to college, start working, get married, or have a child?
I started working just random part-time jobs while I went to community college for about a year. And then I switched gears and went to cosmetology school.
Really?
I did. But I didn't finish. I'm a beauty school dropout, Benicia.
Not the beauty school dropout. Shame on you, Libby. I would never have imagined. I didn't even realize you had went to beauty school. I know JoJo did.
She did not drop out. Yep. No, I did, but then I got a part-time job at LifeSongs while I was still
Oh my God.
in school. And so I shifted to go into night classes so I could be at LifeSongs during the day. And I just loved it here so much that I really felt like this is where I was supposed to be. And so I didn't like not finishing something, but I really didn't. I didn't keep going with it because I felt like I was supposed to be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
You my first beauty school dropout.
All right. So many firsts today. Yay.
I love it. I love the questions that I'm asking because somebody's gonna get something out of this and not feel so bad about what they have obviously done. So your failures, look, your failed attempts and stuff is helping somebody else not feel so bad about their failures.
Happy to help.
Okay, so I absolutely love to hear the details of my special guest, real life love stories. Being a fan of Lifetime movies myself, so please share how you met your person. What's your husband's name?
Jeff?
Mm-hmm. Jeff Carver.
Yes.
Okay.
So we met, so I was working at LifeSongs. I was living in Gentilly, and the Katrina happened, and we evacuated. The tower at the time was located in St. Bernard, which was totally underwater. So we're a listener-supported kind of thing, and we were not able to broadcast, and we certainly weren't going to be like, hey, everybody else who's in this terrible predicament, can you help us, meet our financial needs?
Exactly.
So they kind of had to let everybody go while they tried to rebuild and get back on the air. And so in that time, I had some relationships with a couple of different record labels because of my job at LifeSongs. And one of them, God bless them, I think they just felt bad. They were like, oh my gosh, do you need anything? And I kind of jokingly was like, yeah, a job. And they gave me a job where I was promoting their artist singles to Christian radio stations across the country.
Oh, wow.
And so I was terrible at it. I was like so bad.
No.
I was not great at it, but I was grateful for the opportunity and the provision.
And the experience.
In that time, and the experience, yeah. And then in that time, I met Jeff, who had also just started working at the same record label, which was based out of Seattle.
Okay.
And I was working remotely because I was trying to get back to New Orleans.
Okay.
And
you still living in Gentilly?
No, I couldn't come back to Gentilly for a while.
Okay.
When I came back to New Orleans, I moved in with a friend of mine who lives more like Coliseum, like Lower Garden District kind of area.
Okay.
And I stayed with her for a while until LifeSongs came back on the air, and then able to kind of get things up and running again.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's how we met, and then we kind of just were friends for a long time, and sort of worked together, and our paths would cross at in-person meetings and stuff, and then we just kind of developed a friendship, and we kept in touch, and then that turned into something more a few years later.
Wow. Well, those are the best ways to get with your person, because that's how me and Alex started off. Even though I was married to my second husband then, because Alex is my third husband. But and for those guys who think you shouldn't be divorced, you shouldn't. And I have 3 different sets of kids from my 3 husbands. God forgives. People need to be more forgiving. Life happens. I didn't set out to get married 3 times. That was not my goal. I wanted to have 4 kids, and that didn't even happen like I planned. I didn't plan to get married. I didn't say, I want to be married 3 different times. I want to have a baby for my first husband, 2 kids for my second husband, and I want to get married a 3rd time and have another baby for him. No, that was not in my plan. Those kids did not come about that way, even though I wanted 4 kids. That happened, but it wasn't, I never imagined myself being married 3 different times. But due to life and the circumstances that I've been dealt with, that was the hand I was dealt with. And a lot of it was my fault because had I not, I don't know, I was just tired of my mama's crap. I felt like she was in her, I hate to say neglect because I was fed well, I was dressed well, but emotionally, I didn't get what I needed from her. Instead, I got it from my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big deal. You need to be in tune with your children. Don't just give birth to them just to say you got them and dress them real nice. But because the way I dress, as a matter of fact, did they have wieners here back in the day?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
My classmates all wore clothes from Wieners.
Ooh.
And my mama said that was a poor person's store.
What? Well, I only know poor people's stores. I didn't know there was another shoe store other than Payless my entire life.
What? See, no. You wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have been able to, I didn't wear Payless shoes when I was a child. My stuff came from Sackwitz and Joski's. I had a rabbit coat when I was a kid.
Goodness.
Yes. I was dressed very well.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes. I ate very well. But we had dinner on the table every night. My mama cooked a full dinner, even when she worked. And we ate a full meal around the table as a family. Everybody ate together. It was no eating in your bedroom or eating in front of the TV. No, that wasn't allowed. You ate at the kitchen table together. So, but that was my growing up. So, like I say, different strokes for different folks. But I tried my best to correct the mistakes that I didn't like the way I grew up. I tried my best to be not the mama that I grew up with. And I believe in my heart that I've accomplished that with my kids because they didn't grow up with me being the type of mom that I had. Yeah. So
you learn a lot.
Yes. And that's what life is about. Experiences. And the thing is, when you know better, you do better.
Exactly.
Don't repeat it. Because had I repeated it, my kids would be as well where they are now in life. My kids had a good childhood in spite of me and my relationships with their dads. So it was like, it wasn't no stopping. You here now, you got to keep on doing. You just keep on going, dealing with what you got to deal with. Can't sit there and mope and oh no, mama, y'all got to stay. No, keep on going. This is the way we going. Come on, let's go. So
you keep that forward momentum.
Exactly.
You just gotta
keep moving forward. We're created to move forward, not backward. And even looking back, look what happened to Lot's wife.
Oh gosh, yeah.
If that's not a lesson,
right? True. That's very true.
That's a whole nother perspective on looking back.
Exactly.
Because like I say, if we could live life in hindsight with foresight, if we knew what we learned from looking back in foresight, everybody would be perfect. But it's not like that. Sometimes you have to look back. And unfortunately, Lot's wife looked back when she was told not to look back by the angels. And that's why she got destroyed and turned into the pillar of salt. But just for the record, in life, you have to look back unless you're told not to look back by an angel.
But it's in the looking back.
Yes.
That you can see what God has orchestrated so far, so that you can keep going forward.
Exactly.
You know He hasn't failed you.
Exactly. Because, and that's what this life is all about.
Exactly.
Hindsight and looking back and seeing how far God done brought you. Because you only see how far you come based on looking back.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, okay. And did you guys, how long did you date when you got together?
We dated, I want to say for a few, like 2.5 years, maybe.
Okay.
And we dated long distance. He lived in Seattle and I lived in New Orleans. So we, which I think was actually a gift. You know, we got to really get to know each other in creative ways, and we got to spend time with each other in each other's spaces. Like, you know, I would fly to Seattle for a weekend one month, and the next month he would come to New Orleans.
So y'all met virtually?
No, we met in person right after Katrina because I flew out to Seattle.
Okay, so y'all did work together for a while.
We did, but it was mostly, it wasn't really in person except for little moments here and there. Okay. Like, it was a lot more virtual. Okay. But yeah, so it was a couple years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long was it before you guys got engaged?
We got probably about 2.5 years, and we got engaged, and we were engaged for maybe like 6 months or so. Okay. And then got married.
Did y'all have a big wedding?
We had I don't know. It didn't feel big or fancy, but it felt full.
You don't know? Weren't you there?
I mean, I just don't know what counts as a big wedding.
How many guests did you have?
I don't remember.
Well, you know what? And that's not even a telltale. Where was your wedding?
We got married at the Pharmacy Museum in the French Quarter.
Yes, you had a big wedding.
They had a big courtyard, and we kind of had everybody just.
Yes, ma'am. You had a big wedding.
Okay.
For the amount that it costs to rent.
Oh gosh. Well, here's the beauty in that. It was like a few years after Katrina, and it's a museum. So at that time, it wasn't. We just had to make like a donation to the museum.
What?
To be able to, it was a really, really, it was not. Because I've looked at it since then, because I recommended it to someone, and then I looked at it, and I was like, never mind, they changed their prices. Because it was very cheap. Very, very cheap. And we brought in our own chairs, and friends brought in food, and it was a very it felt like a homespun kind of a situation. Yeah. But in a very beautiful location, and because so many people were coming from the West Coast where his family lives and where his job and everything were, we wanted it to be somewhere that felt really New Orleans-y, for all the people who were coming. So it was a beauty. It was really fun. It was a really fun wedding, I'll say that.
And you said, what was the name of the place?
The Pharmacy Museum.
I've never heard of that. Where is it?
It's in the Quarter. I think it's on Charters, but it might be Royal. I can't remember. It's kind of right near the Omni Hotel, like right there in the Omni Royal. So maybe it's on Royal. I don't know. Okay. But it's really cool. It's like this tiny little museum with big courtyard in the back, and they have all these old medical tools and instruments, and like the pharmacy counter where they used to have the pharmacist making all the It's really a cool place.
I've never heard of that. And can I ask how much y'all donation was?
I don't remember. I really don't remember. It was it was like 16 years ago. I don't remember.
Wow. I'd like to think that you remember how much y'all, because I remember we got married in our church. And I want to say we paid $800 for the rental of the church and because we got married in the church, but then
was it here or in Texas?
No, it was in Texas. We got married in the church we belonged to. Southwest Community Baptist Church on the south side. But we had a big wedding. It was over 200 guests of his family and mine. Both of us, we had 100. We aimed for 100 each. But and that had to be narrowed down. Because we know a lot more than 100 people. But no, and I'd like to think that was the member fee. It was
Oh,
higher than that for non-members.
I wish I could remember the specific amount, but I will tell you, I don't think it was that. It wasn't even that much. Because I remember when we were looking at stuff, it was just like, you know, we were broke and just wanted to
make
have
it
something
official.
Fun. Yeah, and do it in a fun. Because also right after that, the next day, I moved to Seattle for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So the wedding was in New Orleans, and then the next day was like our honeymoon was the drive from New Orleans up to Seattle. So it was kind of like a going away party too, in a weird way. So it you know, it didn't have seating. It didn't have. We set up some chairs and some lights and some stuff, but it wasn't as organized, I would say. And so remembering how many people we invited or all that stuff, it kind of felt just like an open house. Come if you can come, and kind of thing.
Yeah. And you guys have a baby boy together.
Yes.
Gus. Is Gus his real name, or is that his nickname?
No, that's his full name. You know what? Part of that, he was named in honor of my grandpa, whose name was Gustav. But I think growing up as an Elizabeth, with Libby being my nickname, I just wanted him to have just the Gus. He didn't have to worry about correcting his teachers with saying his nickname.
So, what was his name? Was Gustav? Your grandfather?
My grandpa. Yeah, my grandpa's name was Gustav.
What is your nationality originally?
Well,
where's your family from?
It's up for debate, Anisha. We don't know. My mom's side of the family is Irish.
Okay.
My dad's side came from a border town between France and Germany. Okay. But my the few members of his side of the family who have done like the test, the 23andMe or whatever those tests are, they've come back as Russian. So I don't know. I know. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're not, with us anymore to ask. So I don't know.
Okay. Hold on. I'm writing down. I can't believe. Is your name Elizabeth with a Z or a S?
A Z.
Because I know several Elizabeth, but it's funny how and I never would have thought Elizabeth with an S. I just always, because one of my best friends in middle school name was Elizabeth. And I'm like, okay, it just makes sense that it's a Z. But now
you can spell anything, any kind of way these days.
Anything goes. Especially here in New Orleans. I'm like, how?
Right. I know.
Explain, please. I don't get it. I do not understand. That does not. Well, that's like going back to the street names. Chapatulas.
Right. Why do we say Burgundy instead of Burgundy?
Exactly. Make it make sense. Like, Lord, just fancy for the sake of being fancy. This is New Orleans. We can do what we wanna. Look, do what you wanna. Exactly. Wow. But no, we saw you guys at the Mardi Gras parade a few years back, and your baby boy then had the deepest blue eyes. And
I wish I knew where those came from. They are like,
so nobody in the family has nobody has eyes that blue.
We all have like varying shades of blue to green to gray, but his were something.
Yes. It was
I
felt like I could just dive in them and take a swim.
Ever since he was a baby, Renisha, he was looking at me with those eyes, and I'd be like, "You are staring into my soul."
Stop looking at me. Look, putting your hand over his eyes like you're judging me.
Exactly.
I'm a good mom. I'm trying my best.
Exactly. I've said that many times.
Wow. Okay, and so how old is he now?
He just turned 8.
Oh wow, when?
December 3rd.
Wow, well, a happy belated birthday. Kazan made 14 on the 1st.
Oh, yes. 14. Yes. Oh my gosh.
That's a whole nother. Every age comes with its own set of
Unique challenges?
Yes, exactly. I was looking for the words, but that's exactly what it is. Unique set of challenges. And she's one, well, all my kids have always been smart, but God always gives you exactly what you need. And she is exactly what I needed.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Not what I wanted. She's exact, because like I said, I had been saying for years, I want 2 boys and 2 girls. And I had another girl. So that wasn't what I wanted. But God gave me what I needed. Because my son, Trey, he was all boy. All boy. I remember when he was 3 years old, my husband used to go fishing, and he would leave the what do you call it? The ice chest next to the cabinet in the kitchen. And we had a cabinet where it was the cabinet, then the countertop, and next to the countertop was the bar. Well, one day I walked in there, and why was Trey sitting on the bar, swinging his legs like he was on the ledge of a what do you call it? On a bridge, like something you jump off of to dive. Up there, just
oh my gosh,
and nonchalant. I scared him, as a matter of fact, because I was like, Trey, what are you doing? Because I was freaked out, and he was just as calm, sitting there, just swinging his legs like he was on the dock of a bay. I was like, oh my God. So I really didn't need another one of those in this state, or in this frame of my life.
God knew what you needed.
He knew what I needed, and he gave me exactly what I needed, and not a penny more. Yep. So
he's good like that, and she's pretty special.
Yes, she is. Like I say, I love her to death. But I've had a good relationship with all of my kids, because, like I say, I made sure that they wouldn't grow up with the same childhood that I did, because I did not. My mom argues that I had everything that I needed, that I wanted. Well, no, I didn't, because I wanted clothes from Wieners. You wouldn't have got me expensive stuff, and because you were spending all that money on that stuff, I had to wear it. Even shoes. I got shoes from Sackwoods that nobody else was wearing. And she was like, that's going to be out. You're going to see kids at school wearing that lately. Soon. It's like, okay, I'll wear them when they start wearing them.
You were just a trendsetter before you knew it.
I'll wait. I didn't want to be a trendsetter. I was shy. I didn't like getting attention like that. And she knew that. But it was like, I don't care what you like. I can afford this. And this is obviously my love language. And she poured that into me when that's not what I wanted at all. My love language was, I wanted to be hugged, cherished, asked how I felt. And my grandmother did all of that.
Right. That's right.
She filled my love bucket. So, I don't know. But my mama tried. I give her that. She tried, but you can't turn something that's not meant to be into what you want it to be, because that's your comfort zone.
Right. Yep. That's true. That's true.
So, and what are do you guys know what your love languages are? Words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of services, or quality time?
I think mine maybe have shifted a little bit over time.
That's possible.
I feel like words of affirmation, they really do mean a lot to me, but they're hard for me to accept. So it's like I appreciate them so much, but I don't know quite how to just receive it.
Okay.
But I think the busier I feel, which this is just, how it is when your kids are this age and you're a working mom, you're busy.
Yeah.
So I think right now I'd say I really appreciate when people see a need and they jump in to meet it. So maybe right now it's acts of service.
Yeah.
Without asking you what you need, just kind of taking care of some stuff for you. It really means a lot.
Yeah. What about your son? I mean, your husband? I said your son.
Yeah. I wish I knew. I don't know. We're taking some time to figure his out, but my husband's is probably quality time.
Okay.
And again, it's probably because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So making the most of when you do,
exactly,
it means a lot.
Exactly. So what are your favorite hobbies or pastimes?
Oh man, I feel like in previous seasons of life, I maybe had more time to devote to like drawing and painting, like we talked about, or
I need to go into. They have the paint classes you could do, wine and paint.
I've seen that. I've never done one of those. Have you?
No, we need to get together and do that.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, that's going to be it. Re-entry into the art world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it's perfect. It's perfect. But yeah, I can't say lately I've devoted a whole lot of time to anything really extra, like a hobby. But I sure like the idea of it.
Okay, nothing late. Not even binge watching TV.
I fall asleep so fast. If I start a show or a book, I'm just like, it's 5 minutes in,
But totally you know what? You're laying down.
It's true.
In the bed, probably.
Yes,
no,
it's true.
You should sit in a chair or on the couch in the living room.
So there's this, after Ida, we had some damage with Ida, so we had to replace some things and fix our house a bit in the downstairs, because we had some flood damage. So we got a new sectional sofa, and oh my gosh, Renisha, there's the one part in the corner, it is so comfortable, especially right now when it's cold outside. I have a heated blanket.
Yep.
I sit in that little, and so I'm not laying down per se, but I am in that one spot. I will fall asleep within 2 minutes, no matter what I am doing. Sometimes Gus is trying to talk to me about his homework, and I'm just like, just completely
out. You need to nap.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to nap.
You need a nap because sleep is good. I don't know why grown people think, especially as Americans, sleep is good. Yeah. I have to sleep because of my brain injury. And I need to be refreshed because I'm Zon's chauffeur. So I need to be fresh when I'm picking her up, taking her all around. I don't need to get in any accidents with her in the car with me. But it does. It refreshes me. As long as I'm taking my medicine on time like I'm supposed to and I take my naps, I'm refreshed. But
that's good.
Adults and other countries literally shut down at noon, and everybody in the country has to take a nap on their lunch break. I don't know why we as Americans don't do that.
I don't either. I fully support it. Look, I'm going to turn one of these offices at LifeSongs into a nap studio and just going to head on in there around noon every day.
Exactly. I'm going to take my nap now.
Yep. See you in about an hour.
Exactly. Look, and then make a little sign that goes on the door. Nap room.
Nap room. Do not just look. If churches can have like cry rooms and baby rooms, we can
nap room.
Nap room.
I'm gonna make a sign for that. Well, find out if you can have it first. Who would have to approve that?
That's a good question. Maybe we ask for forgiveness instead of permission on this one.
Okay. All right. You know, readers are leaders. So, what's your favorite new read? The title and the author.
Well, again, if I'm trying to read in that perfect little spot on the couch.
What book have you been able to finish, even if it was something in college or in your high school days?
Oh,
hold on. You read your Bible.
Of course.
Okay,
yes.
Then Bible.
Yes, I do. I got this book. It's by an artist called Ellie Holcomb. I don't know how familiar with her you are, but she's a Christian artist. But she wrote this. It's more like a devotional, like a series of daily things that you read, which is a little more manageable from our current state. But it's called Fighting Words. Okay. And I love it because it really connects with the idea of fighting back against fear with the words of truth from the Bible. And it's been really, really encouraging to me. Yeah. She's very vulnerable and open about her own, struggles.
And that helps for somebody else to share their struggles, to let you know that it's okay. That's the, like I was telling you before we started. That's why I have this platform, so everybody can come and share their stories, so people can possibly see themselves in something that they hear either me say or my guests, because I didn't want it to just be me. God put it on my heart for me to open my platform to invite guests on to talk about their stories, to share their issues and their life with, so other people can say, oh, so somebody else does deal with the same thing that I have.
Yes, I think that is such a big tactic of the enemy, is to isolate us and make us think that we're going through this alone. And so we are able to talk about it.
This is all against, this is open to the public on an app that is available worldwide. If you have a internet access, you can access YouTube, Reads Being Refined by the Fires, and listen to any of my shows at any time, especially my guest shows, to show that I'm not the only one that have trouble in my life. Because like I say, somebody else can say, I've even talked to people and I'm like, they tell me, oh girl, I ain't had that problem doing that. You had to do all. It's like, yes, I did. That's my reality. Nothing is easy for me. You people be like, well, oh, girl, you had that trouble. No, I just did this, and that. I can try this, and that, and it don't work like that for me. Only in my life. And I'm sure somebody else out there is feeling that same way. And this is to give them assurance that you're not alone. You're not alone. Everybody has feelings. God puts people here to share their stories, and I have a platform for people to come to and hear those stories.
Exactly.
So it's not just me. As you hear, everybody has their own problems. Everybody.
And I think that's part of why this book, and just even the title of the book, resonated with me so much. The idea of like fighting words, like it's an encouragement and it's scripture, but we're fighting back against those lies, and I would recommend that to anybody. I bought a copy for like everybody that I knew for Christmas that year, last year when I got it. So it's good.
But no, every morning I have I call it my Bible study time. I read a chapter in the Bible every day. Then I do a devotional called Our Daily Bread. And I have another devotional that I do, Daily Habits of the Heart. And then I read affirmations from Cheryl P. Williamson.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my daily dose of God. I do that every morning or every day. I try to do it. Yeah. So
that's good.
But okay, and what do you do to take care of your mental health, to hold it all together?
Well, I especially in the last 4 years, I think 2020 was a really hard year for, I think, everybody in some capacity.
Yes, that was COVID.
Yes. And in that time, I was diagnosed with some health issues. My older brother passed away in that accident. My which I think the grief of that kind of kicked off some health things for my mom, and just there were just a lot of big things. And I know everybody had a lot going on in that time, but I really, that was the year I reached out for help with my doctor and a counselor, a therapist, and just took some time to really kind of talk. And there was something about being able to have a space where you don't have to be, and I don't know that this is the case for everybody, but I know for me, just in how I'm wired and in the job that I have and in my relationships that I have, the space to freely talk to someone without going anywhere. No judgment, no gossip, no anything attached to it. And the freedom to not then have to follow up. Not that it's a have to with other people because you care about them, but I get in this way of like, I don't want to talk too much about myself. I need to know how you're doing and what's going on with you and how is this, and
courteous.
Right. And because you do care, but the space of the anonymity with this person who is simply asking you the questions, and it forces you almost to process some things and to talk about some things in a way that I think I hadn't really had space or given myself space to do, or even realized that I needed.
Yeah.
So that was really freeing.
What's that? I'm looking for a counselor because I need therapy. I've forgiven my mom. I know she did the best she could with what she had, but I have a lot of issues that I'm still dealing with. Forgiveness. And I know that's big, that we need to forgive because God has forgiven us. So I need to speak to somebody about that so I can release, because Alex knows a lot, but I mean, at some point he gets tired of me always. I think he gets tired of being my only person, my only source that I can reach out to talk to. And I know he's not a professional. He's a web designer, but
he loves you.
Yeah, he loves me, and he'll do anything for me. And I thank God for him because of him finding me gurgling on the side of the bed, and he called my name, and then when I didn't answer, he came and found me stroked out. He's a big part. He's one of the men that God used to keep me here. So I understand, and I love him for that, but I understand that, but at the same time, I need to talk to somebody to get some things out that I've been keeping bottled up. And I understand that he's not that person, and he gets tired of me talking about my issues sometimes, and he's even verbalized that, not now. Now, and I'm like, not again.
You know, it's true because you care about people, but and that's one of the things I definitely talked about in that time was just, you care about people, and you hear them, and you kind of, if you're a certain type of person, or if God made you a certain way, you absorb some of that. And I think empathy is a gift, but it can be a burden if you don't have a healthy way of
balancing it out
of the things that are not yours to hold. And and I think that part of talking to someone helped equip me with the tools I needed in the moments when I'm not talking with someone, quiet time, deep breathing, taking walks, and just some of the tools that help process those things out when you feel like you need it.
And something I used to do, I used to take God walks.
Me too.
Around
I love those.
Audubon Park, and around the whole track, I'd go around one time, and I would just be soaking up nature, because it's all the little animals walking around, running around, playing in the grass, running up the trees, and the birds flying all over the place. And then by the time you get to the opposite side, it's ducks all over the place and trees. And it's like, I just enjoy the fresh air and being out in nature, enjoying God's original creation before mankind was ever thought about, enjoying his creation. And I have a series of pictures that I had started taking, because it was just so many. I was like, I need to take pictures of this so I can, and I'm going to start posting those on TikTok when I get a chance. Yeah, but I'm using that as to get traffic over to my YouTube site. So far, and I got that idea from a guy, every day, a podcast that I listen to. I've joined his membership, Sam Crowley, every day is Saturday. And he's the father of 4 girls, and he did a test around Thanksgiving. He said, okay, I'm going to try TikTok. Even though I have a podcast, I've had this for over 20 years, I want to try coming in brand new. I'm not going to mention my name or anything. I'm just going to say, I think his name on TikTok is Motivated Girl Dad. So he posted, and he just asked a question. It's like he just goes on there and he asks certain random questions. Like, who is, my age group? We're in the same age group, Gen Xers. And he's like, okay, do you guys remember when blah, blah, blah? I can't remember what that episode was about, but he got over 1,000 responses to that video. Nobody knew anything about him being Sam Crowley, Every Day is Saturday podcaster. He totally left that side of him out and went on there anonymously and called himself Motivated Girl Dad. And got that kind of response. So that's why, so I took that upon myself and I went on TikTok. I was like, okay, I'm not necessarily gonna not talk about, because I'm trying to get traffic to my site. So I can lead everybody from there from my TikTok channel. But so that day I took the challenge and I was like, I asked the question, I was like, what are 5 things you're thankful for? And I had actually read my list of the 5 things that I was thankful for. And I couldn't believe, Libby, how much traffic I got to a post that I just came out to the truck and randomly recorded because of being in his class, Messagepreneurs.
Look at that. That's awesome.
But
is this about gratitude too? I mean, that's awesome.
Yes. So, and that video has it's gotten way more watches.
Really?
Than any of my content on YouTube comes close to.
Wow.
He had over 1,000.
People are, right?
Yes, he has over 1,000. He got over 1,000 on his first video. But I did it on Thanksgiving Day, and I don't have 1,000, but it's way up there. Then the numbers don't compare to my long form videos on YouTube.
Wow.
So I don't know whether that's because it's long form versus short form, how that converts. Right. But TikTok is the place to be.
That's where people are, for sure.
Yes. Yep. And I'm gonna have to get the name of your counselor later. Yep.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
And what do you do regularly to further educate yourself, such as reading books, listening to podcasts, attending church, Bible studies, seminars, or workshops?
Gosh, all of the above. And how great is it that it all exists? That's so accessible these days.
Exactly. So easy.
Yes. We hosted a community group at our house from church for a while, which went in depth more into kind of prayer, which was a really, really great thing. Mm-hmm. I know I joke about falling asleep to reading books, but I do watch a lot of webinars and workshops, and because there's so much to learn, whether it's personally or spiritually, and also professionally. I feel like with technology, things change so quickly, and I'm not the quickest with adapting to change.
Yeah, I'm dealing with you talking to somebody who's over here with a brain I had a brain stroke, so I do very well compared to what all I've been through.
Oh my goodness.
If you watch my video, the interview I did with Joanna Aquani, God of a Second Chance, I am so blessed to be where I am today. But God.
Absolutely.
But God, because who would have thought? When I was laying in that bed asking God, why me? Why now? Why, and like I said, I don't remember whether I asked him audibly or whether it was in my head, but I was pissed because it was like, how you going to do this of all times? You going to do this now? But God is a forgiving God. And since I've asked for, and thank God, because he could have took me out and said, oh, okay, that's how you feel. I'm going to take you. Thank you for letting me know how you feel. I made a mistake with you. I thought I knew you better than that. Thank God he ain't a man.
Yep.
Because he'd be like, oh, okay, so that's how you feel? Thank you for letting me know that. I made a mistake with you. I thought I knew you better than that. I'd be gone. Yeah, but okay, and the last thing. Okay, this is like the speed round.
Yes.
What are some of your realities from the past that you knew God had been involved because your situation changed? And the first one is something from the past 3 years of your life.
Well, again, it's a little beyond 3 years, but 2020, I think that in light of all of the things that were going on in the world and all the things that were going on in my world, I can certainly look back and see how God provided in that situation and got me to a place that I wouldn't have wanted to be in.
Yeah.
But I can see that he addressed some things deep in me that needed to be addressed. And so I really see God at work over the past several years. Well, I mean, over my whole life, the past 47 years. But just in the most recent time span of the last 4 years, I feel like he has brought a lot of healing.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Ain't nothing like being healed.
Right? Yeah. I know. And in multiple different ways.
Multiple. Sure. Mine was life-threatening. I don't think what you went through was life-threatening, but it doesn't make it any less significant. Yeah. Okay, and now a memory from your young adult or teen years.
You know, it's interesting. When you were talking about doing this, I have this little notebook that my dad gave me when I was maybe 5 or 6, and his inscription in it was, it would be a place for me to write all the things that God does in my life, and I still have it. And I have not kept up with it as much as I would have hoped to in so many details of all the ways that God's worked in my life. Yeah. But I really, when I was a kid, I think just coming to know Jesus for real. Like I said, we grew up going to church, but there's something so beautiful about God creating you, uniquely you. And he knows exactly how to get the message through to your heart. Exactly. And for me, it was just such a really sweet, specific way that he got a hold of my little heart. And I'm so thankful for that. It was a traveling group of ministers, this like team of ministers that used, funny, but it was like a puppet ministry, which sounds crazy. I know. No, but
it takes all kinds.
Look, Jim Henson has a special place in my heart.
Yes.
All the Muppets.
I used to love the Muppets.
Oh my gosh, they were the greatest.
Yes, they were.
I put that Muppet puppet on the ceiling fan and got banned from babysitting. So, I have a history of...
You lost a job because of the Muppets. At when you said it was a Kermit the Frog?
Yeah. But I do. It's so sweet now. However many decades later, I can look back and see like, oh my gosh, God knew my little heart was going to be reached by this particular, very specific thing that he made and that he allowed me to experience. And I just think that is such a beautiful way of God to be, just to care about his kids and to see their unique giftings and their leanings and to be able to reach out to them in those specific languages. I love it.
And you know what? I think I like it like that. Because I'd have a problem if, it was like in the Old Testament where you had to pray so many times a day, go to church, make sacrifices. That's just too much doing too much. I want to just be me. I just want to be me. I don't want to have to talk to him like, oh, Heavenly Father, I come to you with it, using all the big words. It's like, no, I want to just be me.
Exactly.
Uniquely me. And I'm glad that God knows me. I could just come to him and be like, Father God, because I call him Daddy God, Father God. He has many names in my world, but and I feel like I could be me. And it's okay. He doesn't shame me for being me. He doesn't
he embraces it. He made you that way. That's the beauty of
it. Exactly. And he knows me better than anybody else. He knows how many hairs I have on my head. I don't care how much you are into your hair. Nobody, no person knows how many hairs they have on their head. Nobody.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah,
but he knows. He knows.
And isn't that so beautiful?
Yes.
Like, that's our creator. That is the God of the universe.
Yes.
And yet he knows all of the specifics about each one of his kids.
And he has a lot of kids.
He has a lot of kids.
Like you be like somebody got a baby mama or baby daddy, is like he got a lot of kids. God got a lot of kids that he take care of, and don't complain. Don't complain.
Exactly.
Yep. So good thing he don't have to pay child support for everybody.
Oh my goodness, I know that's like Nick Cannon level of.
Oh,
beyond.
Don't go. Don't go there. Because Nick trying to repopulate the way he took the verse, repopulate the world, go literally. And repopulate. He took that literally. Like he tried to do it on his own. It's like, okay, he didn't say you have to do it on your own. He meant as a group. Everybody all over the world is responsible for repopulating. Not just you, dude. Take a break. But he has the money to do it. And God's gifting it. And kids are a blessing. So every child that he puts in somebody that he can afford to take care of. Because I have a problem with people who create children and can't afford to take care of them and then get on welfare or food stamps to help take care of them kids. I think people should have to get jobs to take care of the you shouldn't be able to just go and apply for welfare or food stamps because you can't take care of your kids. I think
Nick Cannon definitely has a lot of jobs.
Oh,
so
yes.
I think he's good.
He got a lot of jobs. That's the man with a plan. But like I said, they have welfare and food stamps handout programs were one of the worst things that could have been created, because even God doesn't give you handouts. He won't give you a fish. He'll show you how to fish. That way you could go and fish yourself. And when you hungry, guess what? You could go and depend and use those fishing skills you've developed to take care of yourself.
I'm so thankful that he is taking care of us. I'm very, very grateful.
So those programs, I know some people have hardships and they lose their jobs, and that's good for emergencies. But you were working and you lost your job. I have a problem with generational people who families on housing and getting food stamps and welfare, and it's from generation to generation. Ain't nobody had a job ever. Libby?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I'm so sorry. I must have lost you for a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But for a while,
okay.
when I was saying that, the line was blank. I was like, hello?
I'm so sorry. It's probably all my fault for bringing up Nick Cannon as a joke. It was just a joke, but I lost you.
But at least he taking care of his. He not making nobody that he not taking care of. I have a problem with people who making babies and don't take care of them and just rely on the system to take care of them. It's different when you get on the system because you have to, like in my situation, because I had never been on disability before, and it was hell getting disability because I was denied 3 times.
Yeah, that's like a full-time job right there.
Yes.
Just trying to get things taken care of.
And I have a problem with people who fake disabilities just to get a check, to get free money. And I know that there are people who do it because I witnessed it when I went on a field trip with Zon's class when she was in kindergarten. I know this is off track, but I got one more question. We went on a field trip, and since I don't work, I was able to go on her field trip, and I've done that throughout her school time in school. But in kindergarten, I remember we were on a field trip at the, what do you call that? It's the little park in City Park.
Oh yeah,
where they have the rides.
The amusement. Oh my gosh, what is it called? Storyland.
Storyland. Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yes. Storyland. It's like I can't think of the right words, the right time. But I overheard this mom bragging about her baby getting a disability check.
Aww.
Because of his disability. One, okay, your child may be disabled, But who goes around and wants their child to be disabled and go bragging about your child getting a baby check, getting a disability check? That's going to follow him throughout. And this child was in kindergarten. So he's going throughout his life getting a check. I don't know whether she had a job or not. She may have been a working mama and was just off that day and it took off from work to be with her baby for his field trip. But I overheard her bragging to somebody else. And I really had a problem with it because it was like, see, people like you getting checks and I'm working hard. I'm really disabled and can't get a check. That was during the time that I was being denied. And it's like, hold on, I had to get an attorney to get my money.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I had to get a disability attorney to get my money that I needed. And not to say that she didn't need the money, but just the simple fact that she's like, oh, girl, you could just go and get you a check. And yeah, it's like, no. Who wants their child to be disabled?
I'm sure anybody who tried would realize just how complicated that whole system is.
Exactly.
How difficult it is.
Exactly. So I just pray that, God see fit to make it easier for people who are really disabled and have a need to get the money. And for these people who are just riding the system for the sake of getting a free check, let them be the ones that run into hardships and have to go through getting an attorney. And that, because I didn't have to pay for the attorney, but just let them go through some hurdles. I had to go through 4 times before I was finally approved for my check.
Well, I'm glad that God is taking care of you through that, and probably in the midst of the hard times too.
Yes.
Of going through all of the.
Oh yes, because we could have made it on my husband's check and with my husband's insurance, because we didn't have a big hospital bills to pay. Considering I had emergency brain surgery because of the unknown and rare birth defect that I was born with, the ticking time bomb that I had went 43 years of my life and had 3 other healthy babies.
I just got to say that I'm so thankful for you, and I'm so thankful for you sharing everything that God has brought you through and having such a grateful and hopeful perspective through all of it, because it really means a lot. It really does.
Yeah. And I believe God kept me here for such a time as this.
Exactly. Yeah. Me too.
So my last question is another memory or something that you were perhaps told about your younger self when you were a child, toddler, or an infant, where you just knew God had been involved because your situation changed.
Trying to think. At a young age. Honestly, I don't know if I can think of a specific thing or time.
Your parents never told you anything about when you were a baby, something that happened? Because I remember Josh told me that his parents, they had just moved here from out of state and didn't have much money, and they were broke. And somebody had came and left a bag of groceries on their porch step that night.
Oh, actually, yes. No, I can remember. I was trying to remember, like, as a young child, but no, as an infant and a baby, I can tell you. My mom has told me, one of these is big and one not so big, but it is a beautiful picture of how God pays attention to everything in the details.
He's into the details.
When I was born, exactly. When I was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck.
Oh, wow. And, that could have been fatal.
That could have been fatal, but it wasn't. And here I am.
Wow.
So I know God was in that. Yep. And one thing that my mom told me that I was struggling with when Gus was smaller and just kind of starting to eat foods and then starting to have an opinion about the foods that he was eating. My mom told me, oh yeah, when you were a baby, you wouldn't eat anything. And I would try everything. You wouldn't eat anything. It was to a point where, I didn't know what else to do. And I just prayed that God would help you, kind of make sure you got the nutrients you needed and help you to learn to love food. And boy, do I love food. But she said the next thing she tried to give me was baby food liver, which I was like,
oh my God. That's not exactly something you start with.
I know. I was like, why would you do that? She was like, I don't know, but you know what? You ate it, and from that point on, you ate like really well. You ate everything that we would try to give you, and so
yeah. But she started with the worst. So do you still eat liver?
Maybe that was deliberate, so that everything would be an upgrade after eating that.
You love everything after that. That was the one jar of baby food.
Yeah.
That she used again.
I didn't even know they made baby food liver. Disgusting.
I've never heard of that. Oh my God. So everything was literally an upgrade from there. Because I hate liver. I remember my dad's favorite food was liver. And it smells so good when she be cooking it. And
because they use all the onions.
Yes.
It smells so good.
Yes. So for years, she had been fooling me and my brother because I was like, oh, yeah, that's steak. You cooking, my mama cooking steak and it smells good. She made us eat that liver and onions with the gravy, but she never did. She never would eat the meat. She just eat the rice and gravy.
Oh,
and so
smart lady.
Yes. Because she said she never liked liver, but she'd fix it for my dad and it'd be smelling so good because she's always been a good cook. But, and me and Avery never, when you're a kid, you don't notice. We just, she called us in there saying, go wash your hands. All right, y'all, the food on the table, come eat. We all sat down, prayed for it, and, like, ooh. And we dug in. And I used to have a glass of milk because I was a milk lover all my life.
Me too.
With everything I ate, peanut butter and jam. I even took milk to school with my thermos.
Me too. So did I.
Because it's like I didn't have to buy their milk. I brought my own milk.
Yep, me too, in my little thermos.
Yes. Yes. Yep. But I'd be sitting there and just chowing down, and I'm like, it didn't do right in my mouth. I was like, this steak isn't, it's not doing, and I was smart enough to know that when I was eating it, it wasn't the same texture as steak was. But she never would admit that it wasn't steak until I got grown. And she was like, oh no, that was steak and that was liver and onions. Your daddy's favorite food.
Yeah, you can't fool us with the texture.
Yeah.
It's really undeniable.
I don't care how good it looks, how good it smells. The texture is a dead giveaway every time because, like I say, as soon as I put it in my mouth, I can tell. No, this is, And she's like, no, you got to eat it. You got to eat it. I remember sitting there at the table, not just on steak days, but depending on what she cooked, because there was a lot of stuff that she cooked that my dad really loved. And I didn't. And my brother, he would eat anything. He used to make me sick. It was like he was a garbage can. Anything that I didn't want. He was the Mikey of our family. And I'd be just like, and she'd be like, and we used to have dessert after our dinners too. And she'd say, well, you're not getting no dessert and you going to sit there until you finish that food. And me being stubborn, I'd sit there, that food would get cold. I'd sit there for hours. It'd be time to go to bed. And she'd be like, all right, Ree, go on to bed. Go on, take your shower. Go take your bath, because I didn't take showers when I was little. Go on, take your bath, go to bed. And I'd go to bed hungry.
Oh.
But
worth it if you don't have to
exactly
eat liver and onions.
But like I said, it wasn't just liver and onions. It was several different dishes that she'd make that I didn't necessarily, because I didn't eat pizza when I was little.
Really?
No. That was weird to me. I'm like, why would you eat bread with meat and cheese on it when you could just eat a burger?
I'm with you. I mean, I get it. Pizza was not so much a staple in our house growing up as it is in my house now that I have a family. But, but yeah, I can understand it.
I just couldn't wrap my head around that. You're eating an open face burger without the tomatoes and the pickles and the lettuce.
Right. It's been deconstructed for you.
Yes, a deconstructed burger with just meat and onions and meat, onions, and bread with sauce. And I love me some ketchup.
It's nature's perfect dipping sauce,
exactly.
right?
I'm like, yeah, give me that ketchup. Because every time we go through the drive-through line, they be like, you need ketchup? I'm like, yeah, sure. Even if Zon say, no, Mom, I don't want ketchup. I'm like, it's for me. We have a bag of ketchup in the house that we keep in the refrigerator in case we run out of the bottles.
I love it. You need that T-shirt. I've seen it at the French Market a few times. It says, I put ketchup on my ketchup. I think you need that.
I've never tried that, but I put ketchup. I mean, my fries, because I love me some potatoes. Actually, my birthmark is a potato. And strangely enough, Zon has both of our birthmarks. She has a potato under her chin, and she has Alex's birthmark. It's like freckles on his feet. He said,
really?
Yes. And she has those too on her leg, I think.
Oh, yes. That's so interesting.
Now, what's the chances of a child coming out with both of the parents' birthmarks?
I don't know. That seems pretty slim to me.
Yeah. Yeah. She does.
Wow.
Zon's a special one in more than one way. Yep. Well, that's the end of the interview, and I thank you for sharing. Like I say, I pray that it helps somebody else who tunes in to this episode. And by all means, if you do, check out my other episodes, because I started on the 1st. Well, I started on December 8th. The doctor who performed my brain surgery, I got in touch with him. He had retired and was living in Florida, and I tracked him down. Like they say, anything worth having is worth working for. I worked for it.
You had to work for that?
Yes, ma'am. Because when I went into after I left the doctor who I see now, my neurologist, after I left his office and I asked him for an interview, he said he'd do it, but he has a heavy caseload now with patients, but he promised he'd do it. But so I got in touch from my neurologist's office, I went straight to the man who had the knowledge, the skills, the contacts, and most of all, faith. That is the reason that God used to keep me here for such a time as this. Dr. Lucian Moran Jr. Yep. So I had a chance to pick his brain, and he told me the story from his point of view, from how I came in, a total stranger, and he just did what, like I say, now they know that when you're older, when you hear of an older person having a stroke, it's usually a dry stroke. That's paralysis on one side, and they may lose their functions on a certain part of the body. But it's a dry stroke and a wet stroke. And he knew, based on my age and that I had just gave birth exactly 7 days prior, that more than likely it was a wet stroke, a bleed. And that's exactly what it was. But it was an unidentified birth defect, and rare birth defect that ran in my family's bloodline that had went on for generations. Because I've had several stroke victims that have died in my family, going back as far as my great-grandmother and all of her sisters. All of her sisters, I've had an uncle, several cousins, and nobody put two and two together. That it was a birth defect that was causing all of us to have, and not all of them had headaches. Because my mom never had headaches. So that was one reason why she just started, and coincidentally, I had started wearing glasses around the same time my headache started. So she thought I wasn't wearing my glasses in school when I was complaining of headaches. And she was like, well, you just need to wear your glasses more. I'm like, no, I wear my glasses all day because I need them to see the board. So you live and learn.
You do. But I'm so thankful that God revealed the cause and kept you around.
Yeah. For such a time.
Taking care of you.
Exactly. And I'm so thankful and grateful to God. So I thank him for giving me this platform, like I say, to not just share my story and the mishaps and messes and mistakes that happened in my life that God has turned into my messages that I'm here to deliver to others, to go out and share. And even if it don't apply to anything in your life, but you know somebody who's dealing with something even similar, please share my podcast with them. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
it's great. It's a great platform. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And we're gonna have to get together to go and have a paint party at one of those places.
Yes.
Yep. I've never been to one.
I would love it.
Yep.
I would love it.
Yep. Would you care to pray us out and pray us into the new year?
I would love to.
I would
love to. Thank you, Lord, for Renesia. And thank you for your care for each of your children, God. Thank you for this year of 2024 that had moments of joy, moments of trials, moments of difficulties. And I give you thanks. Thank you for being with us through every single moment and every single day.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for new beginnings and fresh starts. And I just pray that you would make us instruments of your peace as we start a new year. Let your peace guard our hearts and our minds. Make all things new. Keep hope alive in our hearts and allow us to love others the way that you have loved us. Yeah. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. And thank you so much again for having me. We love you so much, Renesia.
I know we went over the time because you said you needed to get off by 12, and it's 12:37.
Well, it ended up, God knew what we needed. It's perfect timing. I was able to shift something around, but I do have to get to it now. But
yeah. Well,
I appreciate
again,
you.
Thank you. I appreciate you being willing to share your story with
my
everyone.
Pleasure.
And
my pleasure.
I appreciate
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being a willing vessel.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoy your weekend.
I will. You have a good one.
All right, you too. Thanks, Renesia.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.